cool.
So automations is now available for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super exciting. Everybody's been working really hard on it. Lots of product development, back and forth, lots of feedback, and it's just exciting to get it out there and get people using it.
Yeah, so the beta flag has been removed. If you are in Courier, you can find the automation. Is it the automation studio? What are we calling it?
I like Automation Studio.
The
That's
automation studio. Yeah. So
yeah.
if you go to our designer, the little palette on the left, up on the top, you're going to see that automation tab, and it's going to allow you to create your templates, or you could auto stud in the chat. Very nice. Or you can use the automations API, but it's available to everybody now.
Yeah. Also, I just want to shout out the data tab as well. So, like, if you click on the little database icon, there's a automations tab there as well.
Okay.
So you could see all of your automation runs. You could click into it and see different steps that have been invoked, some that are still processing, or some that haven't been processed yet. So yeah, lots of functionality we released. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So not only is it now available for everyone, we've got some changes and updates happening as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So the first one, you can now schedule an automation. So we can have an automation run based on a cron expression rather than it being invoked using the API.
Yeah. This is a super powerful feature. So like after you define your automation template, you can just set a reoccurring time that you would like this template to be invoked. So this is really powerful for like digest use cases or just any type of reoccurring send that you would want to happen. You can just do it here in the UI. Just define the template and schedule it.
Yeah, and that's really powerful for people who only work inside of our app as well, because now they can create a template and then they can just schedule it to go, and you don't need to have like a developer trigger it using the API. So a lot of powerful workflows, I think, are going to come from this, and we're going to allow a lot of people to get them set up.
Yeah, and if you don't want like a reoccurring cron-like job where it's going to happen every Friday at 9 a.m., you could also just enter in any ISO 8601 timestamp there. So if you just wanted to schedule like, if you just wanted to run, next Wednesday at a specific time and just have it run once, you can just enter in that timestamp there as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I put this in like it was recurring, but it's
both. Yeah,
schedule it to run at a specific time. That's nice.
Yeah,
it might be worthwhile just either refreshing or letting new people know the kind of more of the basics of automations. What are some of the steps that can be included in automation as they're building that?
Yeah. So especially when around scheduling, like some of the steps that you can define in your automation template are like a send step. So you could send to a individual recipient. We have a send list step where you could send, if you're using Courier lists, you could send to every recipient in your list. We have a delay step. This provides some type of functionality where maybe you want to wait a while after an event happens. We were talking to a customer that when someone subscribed to a specific feature in their application, they wanted to send them a message, but they didn't want to do it right away because they felt like that was kind of an aggressive move. So you could find a delay step for like 3 hours and then send your email message, right? And we have some new steps this month as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about those.
Yeah.
So talking about the new steps and functionality. Yeah, go for it, Chris.
Yeah. So first up is the update profile step. This was in response to one of our customers' feedback. But basically, what the use case for this would be like, let's say something's changed. Your user has changed some part of their account information, their profile information. This will update the Courier profile on the notification side so that everything stays in sync. And then the two really powerful updates or changes that we brought on were the fetch data step and the send list step. So this is driving towards that digest use case where you want to deliver a notification and have the data for that notification be within the context of some time period, like, for a week or something. So the fetch data step allows you to fetch data from a URL that you provide, and then we take that data and use it to render the notification. And similarly, in the send list step, we added functionality for a data source property that does the same thing, but this way it could be targeted per recipient. So you could fetch some data from a URL and that data will be specific to the recipient, and we'll use that data to send them a very targeted notification for that recipient.
Yeah. So we got fetch data is so fetch in the chat. Stop trying to make fetch happen.
But you shout out there to participating in the beta and having the ability to give that kind of feedback that impacts the product. So
yeah, absolutely.
So I think now we want to kind of drill down into these two new steps and kind of talk about, you mentioned how they would help with digest. So let's talk about digest.
Okay, cool.
Oh wait, we weren't done talking about update profile, I guess. So
yeah, this was one of the first ones that we did last month. So this is just a way to update your Courier profile.
Sure.
And what's interesting about this is the merge strategy.
Yeah.
So you can define how you would like those updates to happen. So we allow all of that control for you. So if you want to completely wipe out the existing profile, just provide the replace merge strategy with the API call, and that'll just completely wipe out. But if you would like some more sophisticated merge options, we offer those as well.
Nice. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
I think now we're getting into the digest.
the really good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So but first let's talk, I guess we're looking at we're just so excited about these digests. We want them now. But let's look at what is entailed in these steps. So this is the JSON for the fetch data step, and then the updated JSON for the fetch data in the send list. So
right. So there's two main types of digests that we're thinking about right now at Courier. There's the generic digest, where you just want to fetch some data and send that data to all of the people.
Okay.
So every notification will get the same data. And this would be an example of this would be let's say you want to send some team statistics to everybody on your team.
Okay.
Well, that data is going to be the same because everyone's on the same team, right? So it's just more of an update. So everybody will receive the exact same notification. And so to facilitate a generic type of digest, what you would use is the fetch data step followed by a send list step. So what fetch data will do, it'll reach out to the API that you provide, and it'll return, and we'll store that data for you, and then use that to render the generic notification.
Okay. And then the other side, there's the send list step, and it now has the
data source property.
The data source property, which am I missing it in there?
No, it's there.
Oh, it's there. Okay, yeah. I think the indention's a little off. Oh, it's missing a comma. That's why. Okay, but
that's okay.
We can provide a data source property and do this per recipient. And so we'll go into the example here in a moment. But here's what the JSON looks like if you remember to put a comment in.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So back to the generic digest. This is kind of So I'll let you go on it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So again, like I was saying, if you just need to send everybody in your list the same type of notification with the same data, then what you're going to want to use is the fetch data step. And this will just take the response from that URL that you provide, and we'll store it for you behind the scenes. And then we'll use that data to send everybody on the list the same notification. So if a team setting or something where the data is kind of generic across all recipients, this would be the way to automate that with Courier.
And so the person who's creating the notification in the designer, they would just expect this data to come into the data attribute, like if you pass it over in a send.
Exactly. Okay. And what makes this really powerful is you could have this you could have this like return specific data over a period of time. So if you
Okay.
wanted to send like a weekly digest notification or a weekly message to all of your teammates,
Hmm.
the data can be dynamic in that sense, so that every time that we make a call to that API URL that you provide, it will return data that's applicable for that time period, which is really
Sure.
cool.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. And then the second type of digest that we're talking about today is the recipient digest.
Hmm.
And do you want to?
Sure. Yeah. So like if you have a use case where you want to send everybody in your list a very targeted notification, where you want to display to them some type of data that's very unique to them, then what you're going to want to use is the send list step. So, and we've added functionality to this to include that data source property. And in the data source property, you provide us a URL, and that URL needs to accept a query parameter with the recipient ID. And in this way, you can return very specific recipient data that will be used to render that targeted notification.
Nice. So people out there probably don't know. At the end of every cycle, we have our engineers build a demo. So we have like a demo day channel, and it's really a great way for the rest of the people in the company to like actually see something actionable that came out of the engineering cycle. And so Chris actually came up with a demo for this. But do you want to let them know what your example was for Recipient Digest?
Yeah, like for example, imagine you have some type of e-commerce or not e-commerce, some e-learning platform where you have a bunch of students, and each student, is enrolled in different courses. They have different grades. They've made different progress in their courses. So what you want to do is you want to send them a weekly notification uh, and give them a progress update and say, hey, this is where you're at in these courses, and this is your current grade in each of these courses. And so to do that, what I did is me and Adrian built out a Netlify function that had specific data for each one of our recipients, and then we passed that URL uh, into this send list step. And in this way, the send list step will reach out, get that specific recipient data with the grades, the courses, and the progress, all that, and then use that to render a notification and deliver it to each one of the students.
Yeah. So this is an automation that could be set to run, like say every Friday, and every Friday it's going to go out and hit that endpoint and get new data.
Yeah,
So like you can really like build the notification, you can set up the automation, and then kind of set it and forget it. Like if
yeah,
it's something that's going to run every Friday, like you are good to run every Friday.
yeah. It's the easy bake oven of automation steps.
Nice.
So I have a question. Now that we've talked about the general digest and the recipient digest, um, can we combine them? Can we do something like a notification that does like a team status, but also in that same notification, it gives you your individual status? So that would require, the fetch data step along with this updated send list step that takes a data source.
Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of goes back to that merge strategy idea. So the way that you would do this, so imagine you want to send a team notification, and
Mhm.
then in the same automation template, you want to send recipient-based notifications. So first, what you would do is you would define a fetch data step to fetch all of the team data that's going to be
Mhm.
generic across your team, followed by a send list step with no data source property. And what this will do is it'll send everybody the same data, the same notification. The third step would then be another send list step, but this time with a data source property. And then that way you'll provide a specific URL for each recipient in your list.
Okay.
And that will send everybody a unique notification as well. And if you really want to, you can add a delay step in there in between to kind of like
Uh-huh.
space them out a little bit.
Yeah. So I guess my question was like, can we have it in like combined into
Yeah.
into one message where you have like the team
Uh,
information and your individual information in one message, like
in one send call.
in one send call? Yeah.
Yeah, one message.
So
That's interesting. I don't, I actually don't know.
oh
I
no.
don't think so. At this point, I
It
don't
wasn't
think so.
my
I think it's
intention to stump the engineer during.
no, no, no. I love that idea though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have to think about that. I don't think it's currently supported,
Okay.
but there might be a way to build that into the send list step to where you
Yeah.
kind of want to do both.
I guess I just didn't know if like it would continue to add on to the context. Like as long as you name things correctly, if it would like
Right.
have this context and then in the send list, like if it does that, like merge that in.
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah. Yeah. We just figured it out, Adrian. Yeah. So I guess you just define one send list step, right?
Yeah.
And then in like the body of the automation property, you would just define like the generic team data.
Mm-hmm.
And then in each send list, and then in the send list step, provide that specific, URL. And then as long as your notification template is set up to handle both of those, yeah, that would work.
Awesome. Yeah, this is this is very exciting stuff because like I get a lot of these types of emails. So like with Postman, it tells me how many times I've contacted an API or beacons. I have a beacon site and it will send me one of these digests that tell me like how many links have been clicked and different things like that. So it's really cool that like we can so easily put this together like all inside of Courier. So like we can set up the cron, we can set up the webhooks to go out and grab more data and merge it all in. It's really powerful stuff that all works together.
You just cut things by 50%. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. That's Swiss Army knife.
Exactly. So, I mean, I could see, I think we're getting to the point where it's time for Courier to do this kind of thing. A regular digest to our users to talk about our metrics. I think
that'd be great.
That might be coming. I know we're talking about things like that internally. But any reason to use more Courier inside Courier, we love.
Yeah, absolutely.